KGP Beats.
Time is wasted, I use the mind elevation. Mind elevation, time is wasted, I use the mind elevation. I use the mind elevation, time is wasted, I use the mind elevation.
It's a lot to digest, but that doesn't mean you should digress. Stay on the studies, knowledge is power. As man thinketh, so is he. Be a lot in man, G-O-D. Generator, operator, destroyer. Hold up, give it a chance before you throw in the towel and call it quits. Take time to think what the prophet Drew Ali did. He bankrupted the U.S. so you could be free. Brought back El-Bay, Al-Day, and Ali. He brought back civilization, founders mainframe. Not only in appearance, but an abstract strain. Brought back the constitutional folder game. I know pigs got guns, just maintain. Put the guns down. Have you lost your brain? They got nukes, tanks, and drone bomber planes. Yeah, black power, but RBG are Moroccan flag colors. Can't you see? I know your sight is going, but you're not blind yet. It's all in your mind anyway, so don't mind threats. Life is too short. Not talking to rap pimp, calling yourself nigga when that's a chip. Cave dweller, hey fella, a monkey is who you think you are, you stupid junkie. High of ignorance and ignorance. From sheets warning you of King Alfred plans. It's not about being in courts, but make them hear you. Declare your nationality, don't let them scare you.
Yo, the time is wasted, I use the mind elevation. I use the mind elevation. Time is wasted, I use the mind elevation. I use the mind elevation. Time is wasted, I use the mind elevation. I use the mind elevation. Time is wasted, I use the mind elevation. I use the mind elevation.
Today, your brutality on Facebook. I know it's a lot. I still say study law books, cause uniform pigs, wolves with badges creep, ready to sink teeth in, cause you act like sheep, passive and docile, needing a shepherd, and the one you choose got rules with flush checking, compass and square sigils with a G in the middle. Have masses follow them like he's playing a fiddle. Have masses follow them cause masses scared shitless. Stay rootless but post a world star when they bear witness. Always waiting for the rights from civil trickness. All your black leaders are on King Alfred hit list. Dirty Moors smelling like they got shit dipped. Picture for Aquarian age, make them switch hit. Like when I found 2 ounces and did a quick flip. From black to Moorish American, give devil split lips. Men walking with slit pupils and lipless. Talking my language like this is Genesis. I used to be one of society's menaces. Acting devilish makes me shake my head every time I reminisce about the past. Living fast at night, no days. Full of heatherways and low flow days. I know those days won't be coming back again. Change is good, but I still beg no friends.
Time is wasted, I use the mind elevation. I use the mind elevation. Time is wasted, I use the mind elevation. I use the mind elevation. Time is wasted, I use the mind elevation. I use the mind elevation. Time is wasted, I use the mind elevation. I use the mind elevation.
Conscious coons trying to school me with limited knowledge. Taught to them by overseers from Masters College. 5 G's a year, I call that robbage and racketeering. Mental slave boats got mine stacked to the ceiling with info and data. Too many more haters. Dissing the Moore's birthright is dissing yours, player. Conscious coons chasing MCA fiat paper, not to be mean, but pyramid schemes for later. Grabbing at your attention like air and don't care. Looking at a computer screen with a dead blank stare. I'm the Moorish MC, no pranks here. If you're too punk to be a Moor, just stand fair. If you scared to die, you better throw in the towel. A lot of black African group movements are bowel. Well, they say Moors, but they talking black shit. That's still brown, I think you brains in backwards. Common sense broke his neck from a backflip. Some knowledge people get is like a crack epidemic. Nothing but denial. When I call up a Moor, they don't even watch the German Moors class with Moor and Bay. Didn't watch Moorish Connection to hip hop. NBA nigga slaves got youths in flip flops and minus degrees, like he's Bosch in Miami Beach. So hungry with money and fronts in his teeth. Of lab weed or chemicals he always reeks. Not saved by the bell, punk or rap and screech. MC Captain teach the same boys on Backstreet. Get in the booth, run through beats like track meets. I call Nia KTS and calling out as witness. Moorish MC, when I rap I spit gifts. Rapping blood clot dummies are on my hit list. Blowing through the air, no kush, just natural mystics. I stay lawful, they want me legalistic. I'm on the corner schooling young bloods you call mystics.
Time is wasted, I use the mind elevation. I use the mind elevation. Time is wasted, I use the mind elevation. I use the mind elevation. Time is wasted, I use the mind elevation. I use the mind elevation. Time is wasted, I use the mind elevation. I use the mind elevation.
KGP Beats.
The rhyme making no sense to make dollars and holler. On our grounds, rounds leave Moors dead in parlors. So-called blacks call them cracker, then get called Canadian, and shun Moors that say they're not Canadian. This world is full of crazy men with no knowledge of self, but got the most expensive cars and flat screens on the wall shelf. Going all the way to try to help you change what you won't. And I hardly hear your opinion of Marcus Garvey, but Steve Harvey stands out, true, cool, and jester, making a fool of you and himself for wealth. To me, those sellouts need to get bodied or exiled to Dr. More's island with Gentiles and reptiles. Fake slave ships stacking bodies in piles, giving fake Jews slave respect, not giving me smiles, calling children kids, chasing after Taji guys, supremacy, use albino and half-breed spies. We catch trespassers with razors and mesh, pedophile, torture, scotch bonnet and open flesh. Traitors get the shitty end of the stick. Our leaders, murderers, should have been crushed with pyramid bricks. Huey Newton and Hampton killers should be in front of a squad shooting by any means necessary. Get out the beast belly. Why y'all get mad glory and your flow's mad corny? Your skin tight jeans put you in trash category. Most rappers' names on lists for rhyme pad or Lori. Making me comments mad derogatory. Why y'all get mad glory and your flow's mad corny? Your skin tight jeans put you in trash category. Most rappers' names on lists for rhyme pad or Lori. Making me comments mad derogatory. I balance my art to beam. Sellouts made it mainstream. Underground is almost unseen. Gay A&R signed the rappers' contracts in blood. Took his soul. Body didn't fall with a thud. He's a zombie, dyed hair, dress wearing thug. Burn that garbage, too much to sweep under the rug. Police can't collar a crime without snitches. You're lucky to escape the custody, not dead with just stitches. Make you hate your hair, take Hindus to Ganesha possess ya. And raising your blood pressure. Anything to do with Moors, they don't want you near. Don't search where it's black, you won't find it there. No matter how much you beg, they won't tell you where. No matter how much you don't have, they won't tell you here. Negroes weren't the first slaves, no reparations first. While you wait for your reparations, it looks like a hearse. They won't pay you reparations anyway. Only if you agree to make yourself black and gay. Instead of towards Moors, they want you to stray. Won't find your mind when it's in disarray. Thinking being European is the only way. Hurling insults at your creator. She will get you later. Why y'all get mad glory and your flow's mad corny? Your skin tight jeans put you in trash category. Most rappers' names on lists for rhyme pad or Lori. Making me comments mad derogatory. Why y'all get mad glory and your flow's mad corny? Your skin tight jeans put you in trash category. Most rappers' names on lists for rhyme pad or Lori. Making me comments mad derogatory. What's the reason for the treason is the question and the lesson. I hear most professing, but really possessing. Taking minds messing with thought patterns and pathways. Nero wanna be a hero when they really cipher, not Neo, not Morpheus or Gillen finding Nemo. Selling out with no remorse, you and yours. Calling you black, showing you who's the boss. Always marching, but never thought sue the police force or do like Haitians. Add some voodoo, of course. You might hurt them unexpected. It could be bloody. Feel yourselves curl and your hair stand from walking duppies. Looked, all of a sudden, judge yelled and wept. In court, judge with cold sweats and throat strap. You can't talk yet, cause the candle was lit before I left. Forget Africa. Hip hop was the grand theft. Why y'all get mad glory and your flow's mad corny? Your skin tight jeans put you in trash category. Most rappers' names on lists for rhyme pad or Lori. Making me comments mad derogatory. Why y'all get mad glory and your flow's mad corny? Your skin tight jeans put you in trash category. Most rappers' names on lists for rhyme pad or Lori. Making me comments mad derogatory.
Yeah. No, we seek that higher knowledge. Only the ignorant can't relate. We just kill them with love instead of hate. That's what it's about.
We are Moors.
Shout out to the grass shake, Cujo L, Iron Sheik. Yeah. Yeah.
We are Moors. Heard what I said? Circle 7 snapback, not just affairs. We are Moors. You heard what I said? Blue, white, green fairs, not just red. We are Moors. Heard what I said? Keep talking reckless and hoopties for your head. We are Moors. You heard what I said? Your slave name crest might have a Moor head. We are Moors.
20 Moors rockin', you could call them Moroccans. Racial West adepts, let's get it poppin'. Got a problem with my sheep? Got a problem with me. I be on the front line rolling 23 deep. I be studying for hours, 7 days a week, working on my higher self, cause the devil don't sleep. Big ups to Cujo L, that's the Iron Sheik. 7's up, facing the east, praising Allah. Astrology, cosmology, that's the real law. I slow roast ya, master the flame like Zoe Roaster. The rise of the new Moors, old heads move over. That Kundalini energy rising up like a cobra. This is training day, mount up with real soldiers. Elevate beyond the hate and claim your lost estate. The only reason you hate is you too blind to relate. The only reason you hate is you too blind to relate.
We are Moors. Heard what I said? Circle 7 snapback, not just affairs. We are Moors. You heard what I said? I don't rock a hat, just a turban, no affairs. We are Moors. Heard what I said? Keep talking reckless and hoopties for your head. We are Moors. You heard what I said? Your slave name crest might have a Moor head. Stop talking crazy. You can't be everything but Moors. That's like willing to stay minority and not mature. Therefore, Tosh to be gay taught the world don't respect you. However, since you wanna be it, you go down when they fall. They, the ones you call government, that's really a corpse. Black man means funeral director. Should make sense, of course. Music is the food and the message, the medicine. Mumble food is poison. I'm with the golden era veterans. Like Mark D, condolences, QB, RIP prodigy, who studied the history of the Moors and etymology. You missed the Corsica headband, disguised as a bandana. Moorish MC, the real Moroccan, not a French Montana. Kendrick Lamar, you Sarah, I trust me, Hebrew's a language. Lupe put Moors in his video, made the point vantage. Yassine Bey knows Sabebe, knows Moorish master MC. True Bay and Daddy IU on some Moorish degrees. Sprague and Bojuno, they even killed Peter because of Macintosh. Still visit the global planets, hip-hop astronauts. Milky Way flow, rays of tassels, blind unbelievers. To higher than other senses, to still pick up the frequency. Pick your addiction, truth will still make itself known. To go platinum now, you gotta give up more plus your soul. Large professor built pyramids, I watch Drink Champ steady. Cause Nori said you Ali on a track, so call me Petty. Also more exec produced the War Report album. Aboriginal Super Cat taught me how to hang and scalp them. Operation Lockdown, video feathers like a sailor do. Initiate invasions, activate at doors every spook. We are Moors. Heard what I said? Circle 7 snapback, not just affairs. We are Moors. You heard what I said? Blue, white, green fairs, not just red. We are Moors. Heard what I said? Keep talking reckless and hoopties for your head. We are Moors. You heard what I said? Your slave name crest might have a Moor head. We are Moors.
So I want to get you in. What? What? I'm rocking. Who says we ain't in the building? Who says we ain't into building?
We the Moorish master masons, architects for your children, rapping Friday 30s like Jason without the killing. But we promote life, oh, it's all about the feeling. And we invoke light, yo, we them light beings. Though you might see him on the block getting this posture, might be talking to cops, giving them caution, occasionally wearing his fez when he's walking, see the turning heads. Whispering got him, but he's locked in and he's zoned out while we boxed in our own house. Study the mystics, the adepts, the magi, wisdom of the ancients can all calcify us. Possible mission, free mental numbness, extract the substance with minds of darkness. Use the source, don't care what some purport, as we know by being told man knows not. Many before the floor, souls got caught, placed in the devil's hands, ruling the seven lands. To dogma rituals, Negro spirituals, brainwash subliminal, keeps thinking to a minimal. They're still criminal, in a world digital so pitiful. Mental survival so critical, it's visible. Can you see? Hey, this one's for the real Temple Wars. This one's for the real Temple Wars, the Sons of Allah Wars.
Sorry, gonna get you rid. What? I'm rockets. Who says we ain't in the building? Who says we ain't into building? We the Moorish master masons, architects for your children, rapping Friday 30s like Jason without the killing. But we promote light, oh, it's all about the feeling. And we invoke light, yo, we them light beings. Though you might see him on the block getting this posture, might be talking to cops, giving them caution, occasionally wearing his fez when he's walking, see the turning heads. Whispering got him, but he's locked in and he's zoned out while we boxed in our own house.
Study the mystics, the adepts, the magi, wisdom of the ancients can all calcify us. Possible mission, free mental numbness, extract the substance with minds of darkness. Use the source, don't care what some purport, as we know by being told man knows not. Many before the floor, souls got caught, placed in the devil's hands, ruling the seven lands. To dogma rituals, Negro spirituals, brainwash subliminal, keeps thinking to a minimal. They're still criminal, in a world digital so pitiful. Mental survival so critical, it's visible. Can you see past life as blocks? Hashtag zombies with waves of cyberpunk. No need for cell phones, they speak from soft arms. It's nothing for alarm, chips and forearms.
Wind, brass, and bass, such a beautiful serenade. Women feeding me grapes, I'm feeding to give me serenades. Whether the sky is clear or gray, rain when you hear it fake, giving life to see. Speaking through who not here today. Show you the future in a glance. Then always look to these holes like hallucinary dance. Sun walk the desert, been more of a since I found God. Look back, used to see his friends. Forget being a prince, I'm a G. OD grown man, no joke, you deny it, you don't know me. Don't make me tap into the old me. That's like a couple hundred years. Walk around town with a couple hundred peers and release the peace of fears. The sun gon' shine, so what fears? This young brother here just trying to get his third eye clear.
It's deep. Moors don't sleep. Invest in your mind, body, and unleash. Real life rap, spitting over tracks. Conscious thinking and living and then attack. It's deep. Moors don't sleep. Invest in your mind, body, and unleash. Real life rap, spitting over tracks. Conscious thinking and living and then attack.
So as the moon sets, the sun takes its place and spoons on blocks, inspired spots, fill spaces, peel back, rats, who got cases, fire stain the corridors of flemo faces, game changers, rule benders and no pretenders, style benders, channel my vibe through the vibe with optic lenses, send a message to our veterans, soldiers up and get it in, we on our birds, we are merged, subliminal beings, third eye seeing, still I participate unwilling.
They wanna break me, shit break me, running with my name G, WOMG, SON is crazy for a minute that you think you can take me for a fool like a native to his land, being schooled by a foreign dude. You mistaken me, spiders on the roof, in the dark rooms, I've been saying you mistaken me, to better move for our market, power things my tongue, to resistance to target, revealing all lies and deceit on the market, genocide carried out in politics, I knock it, down bulldozer, David to Goliath, it's an exposure, some big heads moving and it's getting closer to your downfall, round up on your soldiers.
Little homie, I was seeking a fortune, tired of misfortune. I just wanted a portion, everything that I never had, though I needed my portion. Blowing like porcelain, haters dragging this porcelain. Dead broke, tired of being broke. How we acquire hope to keep still as a dope, just to keep us afloat. Might as deep as the boat, bring us to leave the weapon we want need to below. When I speak, I provoke.
Walk in the room with my aura feeling like heavy smoke. Feel like when they let me roll under my Louis Vuitton, they send me cold. Cause then we capture the kick the boy, yeah, the joke. The cost of living, higher profits and private printing. These little girls are sunny body just to pay tuition. These little niggas sunny niggas just to build condition. It's like this thing they never end the break the end of mission. I wanna free the world, but I'm one man. A couple ones like me and me one plan. I wanna free the world, but I'm one man. A couple ones like me one plan.
KGP Beats.
Islam Moors, peace and love. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the early edition of Sons of Allah. Because we're not going to be having the late edition tonight. So whoever was ever to pick it up, here you are. Give thanks for being here. This is Sons of Allah. And on the early edition, I'm your host, Kudro L. Islam to all the Moors worldwide. And joined by the co-host for the early sessions, Brother Yusuf L. Islam Moor. So we wanted to, before we start, to give our honors. To make sure we give our honors. So everybody knows, you can't say that it didn't get put on the record. So Islam to all the mothers who do their crochet work and all their stuff like that. Here's some inspiration for you. For all the mothers out there who are crafty. So you see that she has the tassel right there dangling down past the shoulders. I know you've seen some Moors with the tassel dangling down past the shoulders. Obviously, she has fezzes up. Just the rounded fez. Anything without a brim is a fez. There's no brim, that's a fez. And so just giving the honors, all right? Just giving the honors. So yeah, feathers up. Letting you know what it is. For all the mothers out there that these guys tell you you can't wear a fez and all of that. For all the mothers out there who are afraid to take back their stuff. And you really think that Noble Drew Ali said there's going to be turbans and fezzes in the streets and that's only males only? Turbans are females only? So it's wake up time. Again, you know, it's always transitions that make people get slapped up. And then when we drop it on people, just like we did with Dr. Ben, Dr. Khalid, Dr. Clark, you name them, Ivan Van Sertima, Barshango, you name them. Everybody's been telling our people. And our people stay playing games. Our people are going to say they love, okay, if you guys love Aretha Franklin so much, how about do what she did? Take this approach. In 1970, she offered to post bail for Angela Davis. Now think about this from the entertainment perspective. Who today would be as big as who Aretha Franklin was in the 1970s? And then find something that they did for their people. But they're going to be singing her songs all till next week and all that stuff. Playing her. They're going to be going in.
Black people will be free. Free of what? What black people going to be free of? They'll be free of not being Negroes. That's the free you're going to be. Just laying it out there for you. We already know that Hebrews are Moors, so Hebrews shut the hell up about this is some Hebrew turban. So shut the hell up. There's more science all around, nothing else. Little keys, 3 pictures we show you to verify that she was onto something. She was not just some singer, whoever. And just because she wore her turban and wore her fez, you're going to give her gun salutes. Because she was the example of what all these entertainment whoever's are supposed to be today. If you claim that that's what they're repping. You're supposed to be just going in your bank and posting bail for all these people that they're trying to put on BS charges. Because you could probably do that and not be hurt. You don't even need a lawyer. Just talk to some more, just tell you which paperwork to file and all of that. Will they go down that road? Will they go down the road of Dr. John Henry Clark and go on the record and admit that, yeah, black is some BS following that you're black and you're Negroes or whatever? Nationality is what's up. Didn't listen to him. Dr. Ben put it in all the books. All the books put it in there. The African Americans' fathers are the Moors. Like, what more you want from Dr. Ben? Nothing. Mother went, got her props from the ancestors, because at least she tried. At least she made an attempt. Right? But there's always something else. There's always a background. And then when you check the background and you start looking at, hold on a second, one of her best friends or whatever was Messy Jessie. And then she chills with Al the Rat and all that stuff. But then, so where did the corruption happen? Where did the crossover happen? Because majority of these people come in here try to do some good or whatever when they get on top. And then it just doesn't really go that way. A lot of these people did what they can. That's why Dick Gregory said, FOH, about your entertainer is a revolutionary. FOH with that. You know, entertainer or no sports whoever is supposed to be the whatever to follow because they do good. They're an entertainer. What about the real people who have to sit there and deal with young people, deal with their problems, take these young people's problems home because their punk ass parents didn't want to deal with them? But honoring those ones. So you check the background. Yeah, we're going to show you that she had affairs and all that stuff, but that was before the corruption.
Right.
We're talking about before the corruption. When you hear about certain people who are at her bedside and stuff like that, please. Thanks, you know what I mean, for all the good songs and all that stuff, but certain people signed their name in blood to be who they are, especially back then. Because black was getting nothing. No access for black whatever. No revolutionary wake up, nothing. Forget all that. But go check out Roger McAfee. And ask yourself, how come they let him be the bond individual for Angela Davis instead of Aretha Franklin, who said she was going to put up 200,000. Bill was 215 or something like that. Angela Davis said, I'll put up whatever. Doesn't even matter. Because our people are going to be free. The reason why I'm here, because of black people. Right? Now remember, that's 70s. So, you know, certain people start crying for help when they realize that they signed their name in blood and now they can't get out. And they keep pleading to the masses. Wake the hell up. They keep pleading to the masses to wake up. So when you hear, for example, people who look at W. Du Bois as a sellout and, you know what I mean, he was against Marcus Garvey and whatever. Before this man died, he was like, yo, that was the worst thing that I ever did, going against my brother. He retracted all that BS. Because everybody gets it when it's truth time. When it's truth time, you're still going to be writing exactly whatever. They destroy the idea of being a quote unquote revolutionary because of what they do to the people who were revolutionary. But the only reason that they can do that is because these people want to classify themselves as black. Then as soon as you classify yourself as black, then you're under fugitive slave laws. Just because you classify yourself as that. Now fast forward fugitive slave laws where they used to have the slave patrol and all that stuff looking for Negroes. Now fast forward that to today. Change up the buildings and stuff like that. And you tell me if that's not what you see going on in the quote unquote black areas. Same exact slave policy. That really wasn't for them because they're not the slaves. They're the Moors. They're the heirs of the vast estate. That think there's something they're not. So they fall into certain jurisdictions. So why don't they be like their black guy, Jermaine Wesley Logwin? It's a reverend, by the way. This is a reverend. I was a slave. I knew the dangers I was exposed to. I had made up my mind as to the course I was to take. On that score, I needed no counsel, nor did the colored citizens generally. They had taken their stand. They would not be taken back to slavery. If to shoot down their assailants should forfeit their lives, such result was the least of the evil. They will have their liberties or die in their defense. What is life to me if I am to be a slave in Tennessee? My neighbors, I have lived with you many years and you know me. My home is here and my children were born here. I am bound to Syracuse by pecuniary interests and social and family bonds. And do you think I can be taken away from you and from my wife and children and be a slave in Tennessee? Has the president and his secretary sent this enactment up here to you, Mr. Chairman, to enforce on me in Syracuse? And will you obey him? Did I think so meanly of you? Did I suppose the people of Syracuse, strong as they are in numbers and love of liberty, or did I believe their love of liberty was so selfish, unmanly, and unchristian? Did I believe them so sunken and servile and degraded as to remain at their homes and labors, or with none of that spirit which smites a tyrant down, to surround a United States Marshal to see me torn from my home and family and hurled back into bondage? I say, did I think so meanly of you, or could never come to live with you? Nor should I have stopped on my return from Troy 24 hours since, but to take my family and movables to a neighborhood which would take fire and arms too, to resist the least attempt to execute this diabolical law among them. Some kind and good friends advised me to quit my country and stay in Canada until this tempest is past. I doubt not the sincerity of such counselors, but my conviction is strong that their advice comes from a lack of knowledge of themselves and the case in hand. I believe that in their own bosoms are charged to the brim with qualities that will smite to the earth villains who may interfere to enslave any man in Syracuse. I apprehend the advice is suggested by the perturbation of the moment and not by the tranquil spirit that rules above the storm. In the eternal home of truth and wisdom, therefore, I have hesitated to adopt this advice, at least until I have opinion of this meeting. Those friends have not canvassed this subject. I have. They are called suddenly to look at it. I have looked, and it steadily, calmly, resolutely, and at length defiantly, for a long time, to tell you the people of Syracuse and the whole North must meet this tyranny and crush it by force, or be crushed by it. Remember, this man saying that he's not a slave. He's not playing that. That position of be under somebody else's jurisdiction, He's not taking a position of going in that direction. Now, what is he doing ultimately? Making his claim. He tied in all the key words to let them know that he's not in their jurisdiction. Then what did he say? Because he had knowledge of himself. That he took the bill and he read it. He checked the Fugitive Slave Act himself. He didn't listen to what some BS somebody said. Oh yeah, they made a video about it, so they're a scholar about it. No, he went and read it for himself. What's that? That's study, study, study. Same thing that Morris tells people. And then when the stuff comes up, now you can articulate yourself in a manner that will either prove favorable or prove that this whatever needs to be discarded and not even considered as quote unquote law if that's what they're presenting it as. You have any add-on more?
I was listening to you go in, Gracie.
All right, more. This hellish enactment has precipitated the conclusion that white men must live in dishonorable submission and colored men be slaves, or they must give their physical as well as intellectual powers to the defense of human rights. The time has come to change the tones of submission into tones of defiance and to tell Mr. Fillmore and Mr. Webster, if they propose to execute this measure upon us, to send on their bloodhounds. Mr. President, long ago, I was beset by overprudent and good men and women to purchase my freedom. Nay, I was frequently importuned to consent that they purchase it and present it as evidence of their partiality to my person and character. Generous and kind as those friends were, my heart recoiled from the proposal. I owe my freedom to the God who made me and who stirred me to claim it against all other beings in God's universe. I will not, nor will I consent that anybody else shall countenance my claims of a vulgar despot to my soul and body. Were I in chains, and did these kind people come to buy me out of prison, I would acknowledge the boon with inexpressible thankfulness. But I feel no chains, and am in no prison. I received my freedom from heaven, and with it came the command to defend my title to it. Remember, key words. I have long since resolved to do nothing and suffer nothing that can in any way imply that I am indebted to any power but the Almighty for my manhood and personality. Now you are assembled here. The strength of this city is here to express their sense of this fugitive act and to proclaim to the despots at Washington whether it shall be enforced here, whether you will permit the government to return me and other fugitives who have sought asylum among you to the hell of slavery. The question is with you. If you will give us up, say so, and we will shake the dust from our feet and leave you. But we believe better things. We know you are taken by surprise. The immensity of this meeting testifies to the general consternation that has brought it together necessarily, precipitately, to decide the most stirring question that can be presented, to wit, whether the government, having transgressed constitutional and natural limits, you will bravely resist its aggressions and tell its soulless agents that no slaveholder shall make your city and country a hunting field for slaves. Whatever may be your decision, my ground is taken. I have declared it everywhere. It is known over the state and out of the state, over the line in the north and over the line in the south. I don't respect this law. I don't fear it. I won't obey it. It outlaws me. That's more. Tell, yo, right? Right? Yo, more's going in. It outlaws me. So for those who don't know,
it takes me outside of the constitutional form of government.
All right. Because you just said that. You just said that the immensity of this meeting, because all you guys are here right now, I'm going to put it on all of you since you're here. Like, this is the opportune time. And remember, he's not just, and remember, he's not just going for himself. He's going for the people as a whole.
Right.
He's not playing, come join my whatever, and then I'll go talk for you. He's talking for the people up front. You got anything to add more?
Yeah, more said it all.
Yo.
Same thing we saying today. That Negro whatever act y'all passed, that don't apply to me. And none of that means nothing to me. What did you say? He went and read it himself.
Yep.
As soon as he read it himself, you know, what was it? He didn't take somebody else's word for it. If he did that, he'd be still stuck.
Exactly. Not knowing what's going on.
You know, so I don't know because you didn't go study. You didn't go look at it yourself. You didn't go do it yourself.
Exactly.
That's why you're second guessing.
Exactly. And second guessing is death. When you're dealing with slave catchers, hunting people and all that type of stuff, what do you say? Why don't you know what to say? Why is there stuttering? You're talking to the catcher guy right now. You're stuttering? And again, remember, we're talking about some slave fugitive act or whatever, but just remember, change the buildings in your mind, change the streets in your mind, change the way that people are dressed in the mind to today's time. So you can realize that they're still running the same stupid game on you just because you choose to be Negro, black, or colored.
Right. License and registration? You got slave papers?
You got slave papers? Yeah, but what do you mean, yeah? Why would you have slave papers?
Oh, so you are Robert Smith. You got Kunta Kinte? You're not Smith? You're not Kunta? Oh,
you're not Kunta.
You got something for you, Robert.
All right.
When they give it up, they show you. They take out ID, because that's the new thing. Take out ID, that's slave master.
Yeah.
That's that Massachusetts or Virginia, that's the plantation you on. That's your plantation. As soon as you pull out the ID, oh, this is the plantation I'm from. Boom. Who's the owner of your plantation? The governors or whatnot. That's your slave master. Because he runs the corporation, which is a plantation. Plantation is a corporation, because you look it up, Black's Dictionary. And that's what you gave. You gave your slave papers, your ID. Prove that you are property.
Proving it. Putting it on the record that you are property. willingly doing it.
But what the Moors say? That outlaws me.
Right? That outlaws me. And I outlaw it.
Right.
Remember, they're given the offer. He has the right to accept or refuse.
Yeah.
They can't just put it and say, you have to follow that. You have a right to refuse. If after you read it, you realize, hold on a second, I'm not going to be under this. Why am I going to be under this? Why am I going to be under this? Yeah, let's put that one out again. Whatever may be your decision, and also put this in the perspective of Moors who go to some tribunal or whatever like that, had some issue, and then the thing didn't get dismissed or they found you guilty or something like that, and you're looking at it like, oh, he lost something. Keep in mind, whatever may be your decision, my ground is taken. Remember, think about that more. Think about that Moors who went to court or whatever like that, and these people did their little kangaroo whatever and got you. Like, we don't care about whatever like that. We got the body, whatever. Whether they put you in, whether they find you, whatever. After that, are you going to be saying that you're the Strano? Because, or are you going to take the ground that you're standing on?
Now you Robert.
Right? You're not Kunta? I thought you were just Kunta. When you went into jurisdiction yelling at the judge and stuff like that, you were Kunta. No, you're not Kunta.
Coming out, Robert.
I thought 13th Amendment and all that.
Right.
Right? Exactly. You're not going to say that you're the goddamn Strong no matter what they do. Once they give you the body back, who cares what they do? They're doing that to Straw. They're not doing that to your physical being. They're not harming you in any way, shape, or form. If the Nazi governor comes out, if the Nazi governor comes out and says, burn it, burn it, once you're not the thing they're burning, what do you care what they do with that? You got to load your ID, say who you are. Oh, okay, all right. Oh,
yeah.
All right. You got nationality paperwork and you put people on notice? Oh, okay. All right.
Right. What do you say? Whatever your decision.
Whatever your decision. Whether you want to say I'm black, orange, blue, Negro, colored, whatever like that. Whether you're going to say, you know, FOH, send in the bloodhounds.
I don't want to hear that Moorish stuff.
I don't want to hear none of that Moorish stuff. You guys sovereign citizens and all that type of stuff. Regardless what you say. Right? His ground was taken. That I know that you guys are a fraud. Coming here with this law or whatever that is not even a law. I have declared it everywhere. It is known over the state and out of the state. Same thing that Moors are talking about. It's known here where we're at that we're Moors, and it's also known in China because we know Moors there. And it's also known in Japan because we know Moors there. And it's also known in Saudi Arabia and so-called Middle East because we know Moors there. It's also known in the UK and Switzerland and England and Britain and Scotland and Ireland. It's also known in South America. It's known in South America to the point where a sister up here visiting somebody, and she's from South America. She came here to visit somebody. She's trying to get all the stuff to take it back to South America, because this is insane. This is exactly what we should be doing. Being from
Kota guy coming back.
right, being from wherever they're at.
What's the dude they was waiting on to come back? Kete Kota. I can't pronounce his name.
Oh, Quetzalcoatl? Quetzalcoatl.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Quetzalcoatl.
Yeah.
That's him coming back.
Yeah.
He's coming back now. It was a more bite. It was a
Right.
more bite that's coming back.
Exactly. Bringing it back.
Back with the light.
Coming back with the light. You know? Right. It's not just here.
No matter what.
It's out of this jurisdiction as well. It's known. Right? Whatever your decision may be.
Stand in my ground. That's the don't move your square. Don't move your square
Right.
no matter what.
Exactly.
Stand on your square.
Stand on your square. And that's the same thing that they use to get Trayvon.
Yeah.
Stand your square.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was stateless. Even though his father was in the stuff.
Oh yeah.
You know? He's not done. It is known over the state and out of the state. Over the line in the north and over the line in the south. I don't respect this law. I don't fear it. I won't obey it. It outlaws me and I outlaw it. And the men who attempt to enforce it on me, I place the government officials on the ground that they place me. I will not live a slave. And if force is employed to re-enslave me, I shall make preparations to meet the crisis as becomes a man. If you will stand by me, and I believe you will do it for your freedom and honor are involved as well as mine, it requires no microscope to see that I say, if you will stand with us in resistance to this measure, you will be the saviors of your country. Your decision tonight in favor of resistance will give vent to the spirit of liberty, and it will break the bands of party and shout for joy all over the north. Your example only is needed to be the type of popular action in Auburn, Rochester, Utica, and Buffalo, and all the West, and eventually in the Atlantic cities. Heaven knows that this act of noble daring will break out somewhere, and may God grant that Syracuse be the honored spot whence it shall send an earthquake through the land. Narrative of real life as a slave and as a free man. Reverend J. W. Loguen, L-O-G-U-E-N. L-O-G-U-E-N.
You can use that as a writ.
Damn, that's a writ right there.
You can use that as a writ right there.
That's a writ right there.
That's a writ right there.
Yo.
Right there. He did it.
Crazy.
It sounds like the proclamation and name correction.
Yo.
It sounds just like it. And he CC'd everybody.
CC'd everybody. Put everybody on notice. Yep. Put everybody on notice.
He CC'd the world. He let everybody know.
Let everybody know. Pass the line in the south, pass the line in the north. Like, everybody's going to know about this. I'm not going back to no Africa. I'm from over here. What do you mean?
Right.
Go back somewhere.
I thought that was
I'm not Negro.
Taji stuff.
Yeah. The Taji stuff in the 1800s.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. The Taji stuff in the 1800s, this guy came. 1850. This guy's dropping some Taj info in 1850. He saw the DVDs. He saw the DVDs.
Right. Imagine. You know, you got the Dirty Moors surrounding him. Imagine at that time, the Dirty Moors that was mad at him, the people that was enslaved because he wrote that.
Oh, for real. I know it. Yeah.
The people mad at Taj, mad at Harvey Day Publications for putting information out. He had slaves probably mad at him for writing that. Like, why would you write something like that? You know?
Why would you write that?
You know,
why would you? Why would you wear that? Why would you wear that as your album cover?
Right.
Why would you wear that? Why would you perform in that? Why would you perform in that? Why? What's the point? Of all these years later, this exists.
I've never seen that.
Because, you know, Negro black colored people, they have no inspiration, so they don't feel truth. Right? People who are studious and appreciate knowledge, appreciate when the so-called angels send you angels. So you can really appreciate more why we're Moors. That this man said boldly, I was a slave. I was one.
Ex-relation.
I was ex-relation.
He's killing it.
Right? He is outlawing the law. Isn't that a sheriff? Isn't that a sharif?
Yeah.
It's real intense. It's real intense.
I could just imagine reading that when I was quote unquote black guy. And that would have went right over my head. I wouldn't listen to none of that.
None of that.
None of it.
Listening to what?
None of it.
Forget him. Where are we getting these? Where are we getting the seasoning from for the pork chops today?
Right. Right.
What do you mean you're writing? What do you mean you're a slave and you're writing letters? Slaves don't write letters. Who are you fooling? All the agents.
I know he got grief for that letter. I know he did. And it wasn't the European. It was his own.
Yeah.
I know he did.
His own. Right. There's another one. Jeff Sessions' new task force puts freedom of religion first. So we're talking about 20 principles, religious liberty task force. 20 principles enforced by the Religious Liberty Task Force. 1. The freedom of religion is a fundamental right of paramount importance expressly protected by federal law. The free exercise of religion includes the right to act or abstain from action in accordance with one's religious beliefs. 3. The freedom of religion extends to persons and organizations. There were 3 again. The freedom of religion extends to persons and organizations. 4, Americans do not give up their freedom of religion by participating in marketplace, partaking of the public square, or interacting with government. Americans do not give up their freedom of religion by participating in marketplace, partaking of the public square, or interacting with government. Now remember, the public square is the corralling of the cattle, or the city.
Can I, quick question, Grand Chief?
Yeah.
Can you look at number 4 as children going to school? I mean, I know that children shouldn't be going to their schools anyway, but you know, just like for our holy days on Friday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It look like
because if school, if the so-called school is set up by the government, then that's interacting with government if your child goes there.
Right, that's federally funded.
Right. Quote unquote federally.
Yeah, of course.
You know, of course.
Playing the game.
But we're in the game, yeah. You know, the marketplace. And the marketplace would be the malls and the you know, because
anywhere.
Yeah. Well, remember they have to play. They're still playing the game, knowing that everything's over.
Right.
Like they owe too much to China. Stuff's over. You see, China's taking over all U.S. jurisdiction, whatever, right now. No matter where it is that they're at. Like, look at all the moves China's making. You think that's not because U.S. had their hands wherever they're going right now?
Right.
Which is why it's so easy for them to clean up house. Because technically, everything's already theirs. If they owe the debt to them, like, what do you mean pay back? Everything you own is now ours.
Right. If you look at it even like if your job, you know, sometimes your job, they're bringing in somebody that bought your company, bought the company, and they bringing in a whole new team.
Right.
But the people there, they start cleaning up house. They trying to save their jobs. So now they doing everything they can right. You know, because the new guys is coming in and they trying to save their job. That's what they look like they trying to do now. Because China's coming in cleaning house.
Mm-hmm.
And they like, well, look. You know, I got the religious liberty, you know, task force for the people. They trying to clean up, trying to make it look like they was doing something. Because they got new bosses coming in for them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it looked like. It just looked like we Europeans would do whatever not to let us get back in our seats.
Yeah.
They'll let the, you know, our brothers from China, quote unquote, come in and run it. Like, well, we're not gonna let them do it. Let their family members.
Let their step brother or whatever do it, because we're cool with it. We're cool with him. He's yellow.
Yeah.
He's closer to us than them. 5, the government may not restrict acts of abstinations because of the beliefs they display. 6, government may not target religious individuals or entities for special disabilities based on their religion. They may not target religious individuals or entities. Now, it's interesting that they use the targeting against religious individuals, but the freedom only extends to persons. How come its freedom didn't extend to individuals? Government may not target religious individuals or entities through discriminatory enforcement of neutral, generally applicable laws. Government may not target religious individuals or entities through discriminatory enforcement of neutral, generally applicable laws. Now, that's everything other than the Constitution.
You see that?
These guys are good. These guys are good. These guys are good. They are good. They are good. They are good. They are good. Codes, the neutral, generally applicable. They're good. They're good. Yeah, they're good. They're good. I gotta give that one. I gotta give that one. Gotta give that one props.
And then put that word law in there, then we got them.
Yep. Government may not officially favor or disfavor particular religious groups. Government may not officially favor or disfavor particular groups.
Particular religion. So that means they can pick and choose.
But then are they saying that, okay, so government may not officially, but can they unofficially favor?
Right.
Like
they're unofficial.
They're already unofficial. Talking like they own something right now when China got them locked.
Oh my goodness. Government may not officially favor. we can't officially do it.
But unofficially?
But we can do it.
We can do it. Government may not interfere with the autonomy of a religious organization. Oh. They may not interfere. Noble Ali told Moors, religious, and attach that to the organization. And remember when this whole COINTELPRO stuff started. And remember the FBI papers of all the so-called Black Muslim organizations. Remember that they already know what's up. They've already did their research. This is not for people. This is them getting themselves out the way of the repercussions when you mess with nature. Because they'll talk about ban people from coming here because they're religion, but then they're gonna have some 20 religious task force plan or whatever. The Religious Freedom Restoration Act of 1993 prohibits the federal government from substantially burdening any aspect of religious observance or practice, unless imposition of that burden on a particular religious adherent satisfied strict scrutiny. The RFRA's protection extends not to the individuals, not just to individuals, but also to organizations, associations, and at least some for-profit corporations. RFRA does not permit the federal government to second guess the reasonableness of a religious belief. Right? What were you talking about second guessing earlier? A governmental action substantially burdens an exercise of religion under RFRA. Remember, that's act. If it bans an aspect of an adherent's religious observance or practice, compels an act inconsistent with the observance or practice of substantially pressures the adherent to modify such observance or practice. The strict scrutiny standard applicable to RFRA is exceptionally demanding. RFRA applies even where a religious adherent seeks an exemption from a legal obligation requiring the adherent to confer benefits on third parties. Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 is amended, prohibits covered employers from discriminating against individuals on the basis of their religion. Title VII's protection extends to discrimination on the basis of religious observance or practice as well as belief, unless the employer cannot reasonably accommodate such observance or practice without undue hardship on the basis. The Clinton Guidelines on Religious Exercise and Religious Expression in the Federal Workplace provide useful examples of private employers of the reasonable accommodations for religious observance and practice in the workplace. Now, if Clinton Guidelines is what I think it is, because I never checked, that's interesting. Religious employers are entitled to employ only persons whose beliefs and conduct are consistent with the employer's religious precepts. Religious employers are entitled to employ only persons. They didn't put individuals there either. They didn't put individuals there either. As a general matter, the federal government may not condition receipt of a federal grant or contract on the effective relinquishment of a religious organization's hiring exemptions or attributes of its religious character. Islam one.
I was talking, I didn't know I was on mute. Number 19,
it's all
right?
good. Yeah.
Where it says religious employers are entitled to employ only persons, right? It just, like, if you read it, like, religious employers are only entitled to enslave only people who can be slaves.
Yeah.
Persons, you know, like, because the employee means that, you know, employee to be a slave.
Right.
You know, you can only hire slaves. You can only enslave people who are enslavable.
Yeah, enslavable.
In your religious organizations.
Yeah.
I mean, they wrote it, but it's truth and falsehood
strangely mixed.
I mean, they have to. Who's it coming from? And then you just already know. You know, well, that's going to have to be some trickery because of who it's coming from.
Yeah. Yeah.
The building is abandoned. And they sending out
stuff.
Executive orders and 20 rules and stuff. How?
Yeah, boarded up windows, and they're sending stuff out.
How are they doing that?
And that's what I don't get. Like, you know, the engagement with them is not the engagement. Like, they're not the ones that we should be talking to, like, hey, hi, how you doing? That's the occupiers. They should be dealt with a 10-foot pole, and if anything happens, let it be to the pole. Why we need to be up in there, whatever. Now, I get it, yeah. But they better be coming to us. We better not be going to them to get some type of whatever. You better be calling us up like, hey, you know what I mean? We heard about the whatever, so, you know, we want to help you.
Right. Because you can just tear that whole thing up because it's like, well, who gave you jurisdiction to do that? where are you doing that at? With who?
Exactly.
Who told you you can do that?
Who are these individuals and persons and associations that sanction you?
But they rate it. And you think, you know, Jiffy Lube has the power. That's abandoned. Jiffy Lube is closed.
Yeah.
It's after hours and Jiffy Lube talk about they got specials and you in line.
In line with the closed door.
Yeah. Well, no, I got a coupon. Yeah,
all right. You stand there.
Come at 11:30 p.m.
Yeah.
You talking about you got a coupon. Oh, okay.
You stand there. Oh yeah, and for the Moors who been wondering what's going on, how come I'm not getting back to you? So a couple of days ago, I was talking with Brother Omar. Yo, you sent the text? Yeah, man, I sent the text, man. I sent the text like 2-3 times, man. You never got nothing. No, man, I never got nothing. Maybe it's your phone. Like, my phone? Why would it be my phone? Maybe it's your phone, right? So I said, let me just call these people. Call up these people or whatever like that. They're talking all this crazy stuff about something with the SIM card and the server and whatever like that and all this stuff or whatever. So because that's something beyond their control, because my phone is an older phone and they upgraded their, same thing happened when I moved from flip phone to smartphone. One day flip phone just went dead. Nothing working. Like, yo, what happened, man? Oh, your phone died. What do you mean the phone died? No, the battery is charged. Like, what do you mean? No, the phone died. So the phone died. So I have to upgrade my phone. They need to get my surveillance up and better because too much stuff is going on. But don't worry, we already have the diodes and stuff like that. So they're not gonna they're gonna be in trouble again. So we gotta go check some emails that we got sent because Moors always have some interesting stuff in their libraries. That's why, you know, we give honors to studious Moors. We give honors to Moors who they're not chasing after people because they are somebody in the Moorish realm of knowledge. And they honor them and they chase them down, and everywhere they go, they have to be and all that type of stuff. Moors who go off on their own and sit on a rock by a stream and read a book. Moors who just, no matter where they're at, they got a book. Always studying something. Always acquiring more knowledge. Never just being satisfied with what you got. So we got Washington Irving, Moorish Chronicles. Washington Irving, Moorish Chronicles. The Battle of the Ford of Cashares. Cascajares. When Count Fernand Gonzalez returned to his troops, he found them in a great alarm at his absence, fearing some evil had befallen him. But he cheered them with an account of his adventure and of the good fortune predicted by the hermit. It was in the month of May, on the day of the Holy Cross, that the Christian and Muslim armies came in sight of each other. The Moors advanced with a great sound of trumpets, atabals, and cymbals, and their mighty host extended over hill and valley. When they saw how small was the force of the Christians, they put up derisive shouts and rushed forward to surround them. Don Fernand Gonzalez remained calm and unmoved upon a rising ground, for the hour the hour was at hand when the sign of the victory promised by the hermit was to take place. Near by him was a youthful cavalier, Pedro Gonzalez by name, a native of La Puente de Hitero, of fiery courage but vainglorious temper. He was cased in shining armor and mounted on a beautiful horse, impatient of spirit as himself, and incessantly foaming and champing on the bit and pawing the earth. As the Moors draw near, while there was yet a large space between them and the Christians, this fiery cavalier could no longer contain himself, but giving reins to his steed, set off headlong to encounter the foe. When suddenly the earth opened, man and horse rushed downward into an abyss, and the earth closed as before. That ending part, we're going to need a little more.
You need to bring me the earth when it closed. I want to see it. I want to see what happened. Because that more sounded like he was sitting there bubbling like, yo, just let me kill them all, man. Please, just let me. And he was just like, you know what, I can't take it no more. I'm going into the earth.
Crazy. Oh yeah, and then when he said about the horses, you ought to talk about the horse from watching the thing.
The cowboy movie. I forgot. Dang, man. It's a cowboy movie. You got the picture?
Just look this up, Morris. Oh, hold on.
Because I forgot the name of the actor. Because the actors, you know.
What's the what did you call it?
Huh?
What did you call the picture? 1958?
No, it was the one that just says no subject.
What? Oh, with the coins?
No, it just says no subject by itself.
No, there's two.
Not the slavery one. It's the fourth one. It might be. No, that's the coin. Yeah, you're right. I see it now because my computer got his lagging, so it's not the one.
It's all good.
But anyway, so I'm watching.
Yeah.
I'm at work, so I see it for a quick glimpse. It's this cowboy movie, nothing to do with Moors at all. And in the scene, the dude's actually hiding out, and because he's supposed to be getting the name of the movie, something to do with some train, and they took the dude on the train because his ransom for him was 200 notes, but he had did something wrong, and the sheriff wanted him, so the reward for him was 200 notes. So he had the prisoner, and it was laying low, but his friends that he was doing criminal stuff with found where he was at, and it was outside. So the guy who has him inside, the actor who has him inside, he puts his back against the wall, and he's like, you know, basically stressed out the fact that his friends is here to come get him because he already know they're shooting and whatever. But and then all of a sudden, I look at the movie. There's a painting behind the guy standing there. There's a Moor, dark as Wesley Snipes, fez on, tassel swinging, big old white horse, got the rope around the horse, and I'm like, what do you mean? Like, what is this doing here? Nothing to do with the movie. Just picture of a big old Moor holding a horse with the fez and tassel, bugging me out.
Crazy.
It's a new movie. It just came out. It's on Netflix.
For real.
I didn't see. I thought I sent you that picture.
You might have, and it got lost in the freaking stuff.
I wish you had that.
It's too much. It's too much. You're gonna hurt him. Yeah, so next page of Moorish Chronicles, after the horse. Or after the ground opened up. A cry of horror ran through the Christian ranks, and a panic was likely to seize upon them. But Don Ferdinand Gonzalez rode out in front of them, exclaiming, "This is the promised sign of victory. Let us see how Castilians defend their loved. For my standard shall be borne into the thickest of the fight." So saying, he ordered Orbita Fernandez to advance his standard. And when his troops saw the silver cross glittering on high and borne toward the enemy, they shouted, "Castile, Castile," and rushed toward the fight. Immediately around the standard fought Don Gonzalo Gostios and his 7 sons, and he was, say the old chroniclers, like the lion leading his whelps into the fight. Wherever they fought their way, they might be traced by the bodies of bleeding and expiring infidels. Few particulars of this battle remain on record, but it is said that the Moors were as if struck with sudden fear and weakness and fled in confusion. Almanzor himself escaped by the speed of his horse, attended by a handful of his cavaliers. In the camp of the Moors, was found vast booty in gold and silver and other precious things, with sumptuous armor and weapons. When the spoil was divided and the troops were refreshed, Don Fernand Gonzalez went with his cavaliers in pious procession to the hermitage of San Pedro. Here he gave much silver and gold to the worthy Fray Paleo, to be expended in the masses of the souls of the Christian warriors who had fallen in battle, and in prayers of further victories over the infidels. Like how the Moors got it, chasing after gods that they knew nothing about. And then when these fake gods present themselves, Moors are running. Like it's no different than when, when we talk about the school. We're the founders of schools, but we fear school more than anybody else. But we made schools. But we hate learning. We hate to learn, but we're the founders of schools.
Oh, it's all backwards. The Moabites was the greatest. We was the greatest seafarers in the world.
Yep.
Now we don't even know how to swim. I don't want to get my hair wet. What are you talking about? He was the greatest seafarers in the world.
Straight. The greatest seafarers in the world.
In the world. I think about stuff like that all the time. They took all our stuff.
Yeah. You have the picture. I have the picture up right now with the state of Louisiana.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk. Talk on this one. Talk on this one right here. Talk on this one. Right here.
Now this. Okay. Now if you can zoom in at the bottom, it'll tell you. Okay. It's the reconstructed Constitution of the state of Louisiana. Now that's O.J. Dunn. He's the lieutenant governor.
Lieutenant governor, yeah. Lieutenant governor.
The lieutenant governor of Louisiana. This 1868, right? Lincoln signed it with a quote unquote slaves got freed 1863. This portrait is 1868. These are the delegates of the members of the convention and assembly, as we can see right there. All of those are Moors and Moabites. If you scroll up, there's a couple of Moabites pictures in the top. There wasn't, and this is Louisiana, where they're supposed to be doing all the lynching. Everything colored, quote unquote, getting lynched. But here you have the whole state, quote unquote, Louisiana. Now this is a book that I have too, because it talks about also the senator of the state of Louisiana, and his name was Pinchback. And you don't have, I didn't see you that picture. It's another picture of him where the author was describing him as the Othello of Louisiana. And they go, and at the bottom of the picture, you can see scimitars and all of that at the bottom. And in the book, even above his head, there's scimitars and stuff. And I love that picture, man. I love that picture. Look at that. What's that? Bill of Rights, Article 13.
Yeah. Now, is in the what were we saying the book is again? That is from?
Okay, I'm gonna go grab it. It's right upstairs. My friend had found the book at a tag sale in the children's section. So it's not one of those thick books or nothing like that. It's just a children's book, but from the 60s. It's called American Heritage.
That was the ancestor ringing the ears right there. That was the ears ring. That was the ears ring from the ancestors. That was the pull your. That was the slap to your lip when you said something smart. American Heritage. Ain't that something?
Yeah. So the dude's name is Pinckney D.S. Pinchback. Pinckney is Pinckney. Pinchback. Pinchback.
Yeah, and then that's how you know that he was a blackamoor, because they called him Pinckney.
Exactly.
Because Pinckney is from Pickaninny, and Pickaninny was a nickname for the blackamoors.
Exactly.
Derogatory term for the blackamoors.
They described him. They said he was actually Pinchback. They said actually Pinchback was a mulatto. And, you know, if you catch Dr. Eileen, he'll tell you mulatto was the word for Moor. Before they said mixed parents or whatever. And it says mulatto, not darker than the Arab. But I'm like, it was too many comparisons with him calling him no fellow. Saying he wasn't that darker than the Arab. And I'm like, okay, clearly I know you're a Moor. You know what I mean? Like, and there was it's a whole bunch of things. It was 3 governments at the time. State of Louisiana was the first time there was ever 2 senators, because they weren't recognizing Pinchback. Well, modern Europeans weren't recognizing Pinchback as the Louisiana senator. So they had their own convention and vote for a European who who didn't even win. He didn't even win. Pinchback ended up winning the most votes. So what they ended up doing was having two senators, which both of them thought they were legitimate. But the thing that ended up happening was the Democratic Party, which was the other government, were, quote unquote, they were backed by the federal troops. Now, Pinchback, he was in the Kellogg government, which I've never even heard of. I just found out reading that there was the Republican Party, the Democratic Party, and the Kellogg Party, spelled just like the cereal. And he was the senator for the Kellogg, for the Kellogg government. But you can Google that too. The Kellogg government in 1870 in Louisiana. It comes right up, and it tell you about the two senators that they had. But they disrespected Pinckney. You know, at the end, they tarnished his title, who he was, his morals and stuff. They put all his bad stuff in the forefront. You know, they do the trump up charges on you, make you look like you're not who you say you were, and that's how he ended up not being the senator. But he never gave up that fight for it. He was still in official official scenery. But the thing was, he became senator in 1871. Now, if you look at the picture again, these were delegates in 1868 of the state of Louisiana. Again, Lincoln freed the slaves in 1863. Pinchback, before he became senator, he held offices in 5 other official places. And this is before, so let's say five other times he was in official places. Let's say he worked each one of those places a year. That's 5 years. So 71, that's 66. So in 1866, he was already working in official places, being voted for and everything. But slavery ended in 63. He's not supposed to be able to know how to learn, read, write, know his name, nothing.
Yep.
But he's already sitting in official seats, running for. Look at the picture. You got the picture right there. That's 1868. Where's the shackles? I was like, where's the rag clothes? Where's the nooses? Where's the lynching? I would like to see that.
Straight.
They don't got this picture. Why Sonetta don't show this picture when he in Harlem on the street? He got all everybody else getting hanged and everything, but they don't show this picture.
Yeah. More is wrong.
They won't show you in power. They always want to show pictures with us getting hung or something. They never want to show us some power.
It wouldn't that be a mudra showing that?
Right.
That would be a self-mutilating mudra.
Because you're supposed to be slaves. You know how long it takes to learn, to be able to do all of that stuff, man, to be able to be a senator and all of it. Of course, not do you have to know that these ones didn't learn the Constitution, they reconstructed their own. Yeah. That's different.
Yeah, I got the picture with the horse.
There he is. Look at it. Please, somebody tell me they know that movie. I don't even know the name of the movie. I watched it just because I knew that this part was going to come up again. Because I caught it at work, this part. And I had to go home and find it and watch it.
For real.
But I don't know what this movie is or nothing. But I mean, that's Batman, right? That's the dude that plays Batman, quote unquote.
Yeah.
The Moor, right there. Boom.
The Moor.
Let me out, man. I'm like, what do you have nothing to do with the movie. Oh yeah, 310 to Yuma. Yeah, that's what it is.
What was it?
That's what it is. It's called 310 to Yuma. Good things. You hear me? They're good things. Habits for life.
Somebody watches Netflix and shit.
Right. Because the train that he was putting the dude on was coming at 310.
Yeah.
And it was going to Yuma. And I'm like, no, I don't know what Yuma is, but I know it's something.
So
You know what I mean? I know it's something.
310 to
It
Yuma.
ain't European.
Yeah, that picture's crazy though. That's a crazy picture.
Yeah,
Just
right,
in-
right there.
Like what and what
I've
and
never seen that one.
no, it's and when you say that it's bugging you out, like I can see how when you start thinking about, well, okay, this is some European cowboy movie or whatever like that. Where the hell are they at?
Where are you at?
Like where did these people get this picture? Like if we say this is really a story of something, like where'd those guys get that picture? How'd that go in there? How'd that get in their possession? Where's the movie on that? The movie about where this picture came from.
That's a series. They had to put it in a series. That'd be a series. That'd be on and on and on. They have to just keep telling. Yuma, Arizona.
Yuma.
That's where it was at. Yuma, Arizona. Gotta do some research on that.
Yuma, Arizona. That's nuts.
They done found mummies and stuff in Arizona. Come on, man, look at that picture, bro. That's a beautiful picture. Out of nowhere. I'm at work yelling like they can rewind it. Yelling. Yo, y'all saw that? Everybody looking at me.
Looking at you like you're crazy. No, there he goes again, seeing stuff. Yeah, he said he saw something yesterday too. I don't know what's wrong with him.
That's exactly how they treat me too. And I'm like, oh man, like they just laughing at me now. They think we're even more crazy. I know what I saw.
Yeah, that's what they all say.
Right.
I know what I saw. I know I saw him there.
Yep. I know it.
That is crazy. 13 to Yuma.
310 to Yuma.
Now,
and the train came late. I was dying laughing. I was like, oh, it's late. But I gotta watch it again because I know there was a lot of science in it.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to get to my part. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Get to my part.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Look at the Moors breaking it down in the chat. I didn't see. I missed all of that.
Oh, that's all right. What's going in? Mother Barbara Bay sent these ones right here. These ones are interesting. Thousands of Muhammad's warriors. Thousands of Muhammad's warriors, the black Senegalese, from the west coast of Africa, are marching gaily to the front in France to add to the fury of their charge to the Allies' cause. Senegal is a French colony in West Africa, extending from Cape Blanco to Portuguese Guinea. There has been a French colony there since the 16th century. Today, the population is about 8 million, partly Moors, but largely Negroes. What the hell are Negroes doing in Senegal? What are Negroes doing over there? Most of the black tribes have always been fierce fighters, glorying in the warfare. From the Moors, they adopted the religion of Muhammad, and by its fatalism and promise of heaven to him who dies in battle, their fighting spirit was made even fiercer. Today, proud to be called to Europe to fight for the white man, anxious to distinguish themselves in his eyes, and spurred on by religion and nature, the Senegalese may be expected to charge the German trenches with an almost invincible valor. I keep making reference of Senegalese there and Moors there. And black and tribes. Remember, this is during subjugation. This is no different like than today. If we look at the entertainment jurisdiction, and you have many people in there that are doing what they're not supposed to be doing, they should know better. Just because of the influence they know that they have. When you see pictures with fezzes and turbans and they start talking about all these different people and then throwing Moors in there, know that this is all part of the propaganda. Because they know that these people are Senegalese. They're part of the French colony jurisdiction. They're already wards. They put some fezzes on some Senegalese wards and say that they're Moors to make it look like the Moors did something. This is again why Juali told the Moors, everybody's been in slavery. The hell are you guys talking about? Think you're the only people that got lynched or whatever? You're the only people that got dragged behind a truck. Nobody else that happened to. Oh, really? Oh, really? There's a lot more. I hear you.
They're the only ones that honor it. We're the only ones that honor slavery. We honor it. We brag about that. Like, that's the thing we do. Like, if it wasn't for, we look at slavery like if it wasn't for slavery, you know, they love being slaves, man. Yep. I'm telling you, like if it wasn't for slavery, woof. You know, I wouldn't be who I am. Like that's what they, you know, they can just lean on being a slave.
Yeah.
Because once you, it's harder being free. Being slave is easy.
Yeah, being slave ain't nothing.
That's easy. You're told what to do. You get your little curfew. You know what I mean? They give you your food. They do everything for you when you're a slave. They take care of you. As soon as you want your freedom, oh, it's hard work. It's hard work.
Yep. So you can just put this one down, Moors. Chronicling America.loc.gov. Chronicling America.loc.gov. There it is right up there. Let's check this one. This one's for all the this one's for all the beard Moors. All the beard Moors. This one's for you. Why foliage is worn on the upper lip. The mustache first came into vogue in the 14th century when the Christians and Mohammedans were at war in Spain. Some Moors were Christians, but all Moors wore beards. The Christians, wishing to distinguish themselves from the infidel, shaved the hair on their faces as to resemble a cross. A narrow horizontal line of hair was left on the upper lip, and another perpendicular line remaining on the chin. From that time, the mustache has been popular in all countries, regardless of the wearer's religious tendencies. No, regardless of nothing. So if you have the one line with the line in the chin, you're really Christian. Especially all the conscious shave guys. The conscious look cool guys. That your fashion show now, conscious fashion shows. Well, you see that line that you take your time and you make that line, that's actually the cross. And don't tell me about that BS about that's from Kemet and all that stuff. Not hearing that. Not hearing that at all. Not hearing that. Stop playing. We already know what's up. Tell the people that they're more so we can get this thing going. Stop playing. Stop it. Stop it right now. Right now. Islam.
All right. Let's see. I got real quick that book. You know, the Luella J. Hall.
Yeah.
Morocco, 1956.
Yeah.
I mean, Morocco, 1776 to 1956. Luella J. Hall. Another thing, Wyatt came over the other day.
Islam brother Wyatt.
He told me we were talking about the book. He told me the book's going for at least $5,000 now.
Wow.
5,000 notes now. When I got it, I only paid 30 notes for it. Now $5,000. Crazy. But okay, real quick. In the book, right, talks about Matthews. I don't know if y'all remember Matthews. I forgot his first. He was a plenipotentiary for the United States, right? During the time of the treaty, in the 18th century, right? I want to just say his statement real quick. It's describing him. I think his name was James Matthews or something like that. All right. But in the book, right, it says, in the letter accepting his reappointment, because he was reappointed again, Matthews made a singular statement. Now, this is Matthews, the plenipotentiary for the United States to Morocco. He says, I was born in Africa at Tangier, Morocco, right? I'm quoting him. He says, I was born in Africa at Tangier, Morocco as an American citizen, right? Also, he goes on and says, he gave these biographical details also. Quote, in my boyhood, I resided at Brooklyn, New York, and in the state of California since 1855, excepting the period of the Civil War from 1869 to 1887, which later period of 18 years, I resided at Tangier, holding the post of United States Consul. My thing is, how are you born in Africa at Tangier, Morocco, as an American citizen? How did you do that?
Only way you could do that is if Africa's Morocco.
There you go.
and not over there, over here.
Right. Because then he said, well, I grew up in Brooklyn. I'm like, well, how did you do that? How did you do that? You were in Tangier, Morocco. You was born in Tangier. And, okay. And in your boyhood, okay, now you were rich. Now you're growing up. And you grew up in Brooklyn. I don't know how I don't think your family took a shit from Tangier, Morocco over there. And then your boyhood, you grew up in Brooklyn over here.
Yeah, that sounds a little crazy.
He straight told you, I grew up here. I was born here and I grew up here. It was just, I was just like, wow. It's like, look, and these are the author's notes, you know, in the back of the book.
Yeah, yeah.
This her. This ain't got nothing even to do with the book, what's going on. She put this in there, something she found. Like, and she underlined the part, because he's quoting, I was born in Africa at Tangier, Morocco. She underlined as an American citizen, and it says author's italics. Like, she even knew that was crazy.
Yeah, something was up with that. Yeah, something was up with that. Yeah.
Like, wait a minute.
Right.
And remember I was telling you earlier, too, about the Prince Ibrahim?
Oh, yeah, put that one out there, too. Yeah. Put that one out there, too.
Now, the Prince Ibrahim...
You have the remember the reference?
Okay.
So you know how they're gonna play like we made that up.
Okay. All right. Okay. Because I can just tell them how to get to it.
Yeah. Just tell them how to get to it. Yeah.
It's Prince Ibrahim. Okay, so I'm studying, we study all the time. I'm looking up something with Benjamin. Hold on one second. Yes, big. Okay. So I'm looking up Benjamin Franklin. Now, we know Benjamin Franklin to be Benjamin Banneker Bay. But so I'm looking up research about him, and I come into a PDF file. This is the first time I've ever seen something like this, too. I download the PDF file. In the PDF file, it's a student's video talking to the college. So I click on the video. I've never seen a video inside a PDF file. I've never seen that. It's like it's hidden. I click on the video. The European starts talking about Benjamin Franklin, who wrote under the pen name Prince Ibrahim. Now, like I said, we already know Benjamin Franklin is Benjamin Banneker Bay. So now we look at that as Benjamin Banneker Bay wrote under the pen name Prince Ibrahim. That, and we're taught there's no such thing as coincidence. You're already Benjamin Banneker Bay.
Exactly.
And now you're writing under the pen name Prince Ibrahim. Now, the other thing is, Prince Ibrahim, they change it and distort it, and they make Prince Ibrahim, he's the Moroccan prince that was enslaved in the 18th century. I hope lawyers remember that. The one that got enslaved and got his freedom.
Yeah.
And after a certain amount of years, he taught himself how to read and write. That was Benjamin Banneker Bay, Prince Ibrahim. That's Benjamin Franklin. That's the Moor. They make it seem like he was the slave from over there. And then, okay, if you type in Prince Ibrahim in Google right now, it's gonna say he was born 1762 in Timbo, Ghana. He died in 1829 in Monrovia, Liberia. His nationality, American. Somebody got to explain that too.
Prince Ibrahim. So now, so like you're looking at it as like what would you call, like, going through those lengths? What would you call that? Like, what is that?
And then, you know, Benjamin Franklin, another plenipotentiary for the United States. And then you got John Hanson Day, you know, the first quote-unquote president. It was just I'm starting to see that it was really all Moors.
Yeah.
Right here. Yeah. And they starting to change pictures, change the names. It's always been Morocco. Yeah. It's just you can, you know, like your mother told you, once you tell a lie, you gotta tell another one.
Straight.
And that's what they did. They have to.
And everything just caught up. Everything's just catching up to them. It's just a bottleneck now because so much lies.
Because you're gonna get caught up in your lies.
Yeah.
You have to. My boy told me, he said, even in a lie, there's truth. I said, that's right. That's right. That's right. And I'm gonna find it.
For real.
And I'm gonna find it. Look at him. They say it. Look, Timbo Gania died Marumbia.
What was it again? What was it? Prince Ibrahim?
Prince Ibrahim. Ibrahim.
Yeah.
This picture popped right up on the right. And then you can see the Timbo Gania and the Moravia Liberia, nationality American. That should say born in Georgia or something. Born in Texas or something like that. Not Timbo Gania and the nationality American. That's not supposed to say that. That should say, you know, Oklahoma or something. I never heard of Timbo Gania in North America. I never heard of that. Never in my life. But he's an American. The Prince of Morocco.
Yeah.
It's the Prince of Morocco that was enslaved, Grand Chief.
Yeah.
Who they saying is Benjamin Banneker Bey. You know, because we already know he's a Benjamin Banneker Bey. And who wrote under the pen name as Ibrahim, Prince Ibrahim. You didn't write under no pen name as Ibrahim. That's you.
They couldn't look like one more doing all this stuff, yo. That was too much. No way one more did all this.
Look, there you go. Oh, why doesn't yours say it?
We're supposed to say it right here?
How doesn't yours say it? It says it right on mine. I'm looking at mine. I'll send you the email. I'll take a picture. It should say America. It says died. It should say America right underneath that.
Oh yeah? Wow.
It should say mine.
Well, crazy too. The Tangiers video can't play in Canada.
What?
I've been trying to play that when you were talking about Tangiers.
Oh my goodness, man.
Can't play. Can't play.
I've never even heard of nothing like that. I mean, yeah, I have, but dang.
Yeah.
That's a crazy video right there. The more you gotta look that up. This video is on YouTube for what's that? Tangier, Virginia?
Tangier, where is it?
Or Algiers, New Orleans.
Tangiers Island.
Tangier Island, right.
Yeah, so let's look that up, Mars. Tangiers Island. Look that up.
Plenty of videos on there. I can't believe that video won't play.
Yeah, crazy. They know what they're doing.
Because that's supposed to play right there. Underneath, they got the New Orleans, Algiers, New Orleans. And actually, Algiers was the name of that area before New Orleans even was in existence. The name New Orleans came into existence. It was known as Algiers.
It was not a what?
It was just known as Algiers.
Yeah.
Before New Orleans came. It wasn't no New Orleans. It was just Algiers. And then New Orleans came.
Crazy. And then they have the crescent and star and all that there.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And then remember, if you got Algiers, Virginia, and then we already know that the Moors they was paying tribute to Algiers for slavery. You know what I mean? The Algiers Sultan or whatnot of Algiers was getting paid.
Tripoli, everybody.
Morocco, everybody was getting paid.
Everybody.
Then you got, what is it? Tangier, Virginia, right? Okay, so Algiers, Tangier, Virginia. So if it's Tangier, Virginia, and we also know that Virginia, the first slaves in Virginia was Europeans.
Mm-hmm.
But that's Algiers.
Yeah.
There's even documents on who was the greatest slayer of the Christians. What was his title? The Christian slayer, the Sultan who couldn't stand them. What was his nickname?
Who? Muli Ishmael?
Yeah, Muli Ishmael. He sent 1,000 Irish slaves to America. Yeah. That's documented. Yeah. To Virginia.
To Virginia.
To Virginia. He said that the Mule, you can Google it. Tell me all the time. He sent 1,000 Irish slaves to Virginia. That's Algiers. That's right, because Virginia was a company. Virginia, I read that Virginia was even a ship. And all that stuff is ships.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy too, that all those are ships.
All of them are ships.
Put the anchor down and then say, yes, now this is land.
Right.
And then have you... Straight.
This Virginia. No. Mm-hmm. That's a company. That's a ship. That's a ship. It's a ship for trade. It's like a store on water. That's what it was.
Straight.
And that's what, makes sense that, they only supposed to stay on the borders.
Yeah.
Because they're ships.
Yep.
The Virginia company ships, they're their ships. They're supposed to be doing trade. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
You're not laying your ship.
Your ship. You're supposed to be stuck on the boat. Forget even getting off the boat. You're not supposed to be here that long.
Yeah.
Drop off your stuff and then go back, yo.
Yeah. And I guess that's where they get that, maritime law or whatever.
Yep, admiralty law on the land and whatever. Yep.
Yep, that's where they get it from right there.
So that would mean that the whole sovereign citizen whatever is really a piracy act. Those people playing that game.
Wow.
Those people who are playing that game.
Wow. They're doing us on us.
They're doing us on us.
That was a good move, man.
But they're doing it on paper.
Right.
They don't have to, it doesn't have to be tribe versus tribe or whatever, even though it's that still, these people shooting each other for whatever. This is why I tell Moors, find Moors where you're at and get with those Moors. You're not going to be driving across no whatever to go hunt for Moors. You're going to be with the Moors who you're going to be with.
Right.
So you better get with some. The arm's reach. More where you can take, even if it's a day walk, you'll be good. can do that. You can get there. Holy Covenant. Never forget it. Never forget it. So I want to say peace and love to the mother. Give thanks for all the spiritual lessons that you gave us so that we can know today that you were on it. You had your turbans up, fezzes up, all that. You were really holding it up for your people. You're really holding up for your people.
She had the big turban before Badu.
Yep. Yep. Remember, this is album cover. You know, this is covers, so it's going everywhere.
And you know Badu's a more.
And you know Badu's a more. You know Badu's a more. All right, this one's crazy.
I've looked up that symbol with the hand on the cheek pose. I've actually studied that. That's a symbol. It's supreme knowledge. It means wisdom. That's you see Hajj does it, Martin Luther King does it.
Yeah.
I just picked up on it and I was like, yeah, that's something. I know that's something. As soon as I looked it up, it popped right up. Look at that one. That was amazing. Wow, look at that one.
Yeah, Sun Ra. There's Sun Ra going in. Oh, that ain't. I don't think that's Sun Ra. Islam Wars. Brother Yusuf, give thanks. It's always good. It's always good to get a building. It's always good to get a building with the Moors. And also, next week, Tuesday's class, next week's Tuesday class is going to be the listening session of the Alchemist album, almost ready to put it out. So we're going to jump on this trend and have the listening session. So Tuesday night class, 6 p.m. It's going to be listening to the album, having some conversations with some people, some hip-hop conversations, and going from there. It's going to be right here on Canaan Land Moors 2. There's a lot more. You have any closing?
Just give thanks to the Prophet. Give thanks to Grand Sheik for letting me come on this platform. Give thanks to all the Moors in the chat and Islam.
Islam, the real Temple Moors. Peace, Moors.
It's always going to get you in. What? I'm Rockets. Who says we ain't in the building? Who says we ain't into building? We the Moorish master masons, architects for your children, rapping Friday 30s like Jason without the killing. But we promote light, oh, it's all about the feeling. And we invoke light, yo, we them light beings. Though you might see him on the block getting this posture, might be talking to cops, giving them caution, occasionally wearing his fez when he's walking, see the turning heads, whispering gawking, but he's locked in and he's zoned out while we boxed in our own house.
Study the mystics, the adepts, the magi, wisdom of the ancients can all calcify eyes. Possible mission, free mental numbness, extract the substance with minds of darkness. Use the source, don't care what some purport, as we know by being told man knows not. Many before the floor, souls got caught, placed in the devil's hands, ruling the seven lands. To dogma rituals, Negro spirituals, brainwash subliminal, keeps thinking to a minimal. They still criminal, in a world digital so pitiful. Mental survival so critical, it's visible. Can you see past like the spots? Hashtag zombies with waves of cyber thoughts. No need for cell phones, they speak through soft arms. It's nothing for alarm, chips and forearms.
When brass and bass, such a beautiful serenade. Women feeding me grapes, I'm feeding the Henry Serenade. Whether the sky's clear or gray, rain when you hear a fake, giving life to see. Speaking through who not here today. Show you the future in a glimpse. And I always look to these holes like hallucinary pimps. Sun walked the desert, been marvelous since I found God. Look back, used to see his prints. Forget being a prince, I'm a G. OD, grown man, no Jody. Deny you, you don't know me. Don't make me tap into the old me. That's like a couple hundred years. Walk around town with a couple hundred peers and release the peace of up fears. The sun gon' shine for what tears? This young brother here just trying to get his third eye clear.
Moors don't sleep. Invest in your mind, body, and unleash. Real life rap, spitting over tracks. Conscious thinking and living a dead attack. This deep. Moors don't sleep. Invest in your mind, body, and unleash. Real life rap, spitting over tracks. Conscious thinking and living a dead attack.
So as the moon sets, the sun takes its place and spoons on blocks, inspired spots, filled spaces, real rats, who got cases, fire stain the corridors of flemo faces, game changers, rule benders and no pretenders, style benders, channel my vibe through the vibrant optic lenses, send a message to our veterans, soldiers up and get it in, we on our birds, we are merged, subliminal beings, third eye seeing, still I participate unwilling.
They wanna break me, shake, break me, rolling with my name G, double O-M-D, S-O-N is crazy, for a minute that you think you could take me for a fool, like a native to his land, being schooled by a foreign dude, if mistaken me, spiders on the roof, in the dark trees, I've been saying you mistaken me, to better move for our market, poetry is my tongue, to resistance to target, revealing all lies and deceit on the market, genocide, carry out in pockets, I knock it, down bulldozer, David to Goliath, it's an exposure, of some big heads ruling and it's getting closer to your downfall, round up on your soldiers.
Little homie, I was seeking a fortune, tired of misfortune. I just wanted a portion, everything that I never had, though I needed my portion. Blowing like porcelain, haters battling porcelain. Getting broke, tired of being broke. How we get quiet, hope we can teach skillets of dope, just to keep us afloat. Might as deep as the boat, brain is a lethal weapon. We want it to elope. When I speak up, I'm broke. Walk in the room with my aura feeling like heavy smoke. Feel like when the levee broke. Under my Louis fitted the semi-coat. Cause then we captured the chicken boy, yeah, the joke. The cost of living, higher profits and private printing. These little girls are sunny body just to pay tuition. These little niggas sunny niggas just to build condition. It's like the snake you never end the prison in the mission. I want to free the world, but I'm one man. A couple ones like me, let me one plan. I want to free the world, but I'm one man. A couple ones like me, one plan.